There is a force more corrosive than fire, more suffocating than water, more consuming than darkness itself. A force that coils around the soul, distorting perception, weakening the body, and severing our connection to the divine. This force is fear. But what if I told you that fear is not just an emotion? What if I told you that every moment of anxiety, doubt, or dread alters the very fabric of your energy field, corrupting your aura, distorting your frequency, and making you a beacon for the very things you wish to avoid? Fear is not merely felt, it is absorbed. It is encoded into your electromagnetic signature, dragging your spiritual essence into lower vibrations, severing your connection to higher realms, and leaving you vulnerable to unseen forces that feed on this energy. The ancient mystics knew this truth well. The shamans, the initiates of hidden schools, the sages who walked between worlds, all understood that fear was a poison, not only of the mind, but of the soul itself. They left behind secrets, warnings, and forgotten wisdom, teachings on how fear shapes our reality, how it alters the flow of energy within and around us, and most importantly, how to transcend it. Tonight, we will venture beyond the veil. We will decode the hidden effects of fear on your energy field, trace its influence through the corridors of ancient wisdom, and uncover the forgotten methods to shield and reclaim your power. For to master fear is to master reality itself. The question is, are you ready to see the truth? Long before fear was defined by psychology, before it was studied as a mere survival mechanism, it was understood by the ancients as something far more profound. It was known as a distortion of energy, a force that weakens the soul's luminous field, making one vulnerable not just to earthly dangers, but to unseen entities thrive in the shadows of human consciousness. The ancient Egyptians believed in an energetic force they called Sekhem, a vital power that connected the human spirit to the divine. To them, fear was not just an emotion, it was an intruder, a disruptor of the life force that anchored one to higher realms. Those who succumbed to fear were said to weaken their energy double, leaving them vulnerable to Isfet, the forces of chaos. In Greece, the philosophers of the mystery schools, Pythagoras, Plato, the Orphic initiates spoke of fear as a lower vibration, a force that dragged the soul away from the nous, the higher intellect, and into the realm of illusion, into the realm of doxa, mere opinion, deception, and spiritual blindness. In the East, the Taoists and Buddhist masters observed how fear constricts the bodies to the life energy that flows through the meridians. They saw that a fearful mind creates blockages, distorting the harmonious flow of this sacred energy. To live in fear was to sever oneself from the Tao, from the natural flow of the universe. But beyond these teachings, there exists an even deeper, more hidden truth, a truth known only to those initiated into the sacred orders. Throughout history, those who sought control over the masses understood that fear was the most powerful weapon. Not swords, not chains, fear. It was through fear that ancient empires ruled. It was through fear that spiritual knowledge was suppressed, and it is through fear that modern society continues to program the minds of the unaware. Why is it that every ancient civilization spoke of fear not as a natural response, but as a force to be conquered? Why is it that those who truly understood the mechanics of reality, those initiated into the sacred mysteries, dedicated their lives to mastering fear rather than obeying it? because they knew that fear was the lock and courage was the key, that to transcend fear was to access realms of power, wisdom, and perception that the ordinary mind could never comprehend. And so the question becomes, if fear is the prison, then what happens when we step beyond its walls? What truly happens to the human energy field when fear takes hold? And more importantly, how can we break free? The answers await. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a frequency, a disruption, a distortion in the natural flow of your energy field. And like ripples in a still pond, its effects extend far beyond the mind. It alters your very essence, reshaping the way your consciousness interacts with reality. Your energy field, also known in many traditions as the aura, is a bioelectromagnetic structure and extension of your consciousness. It is the unseen architecture of your being, an intricate web of vibrational currents. But what happens when fear enters this field? Science has shown that when fear is triggered, the amygdala, an ancient structure in the brain, sends an immediate signal to the body. Adrenaline surges, cortisol floods the bloodstream. The heart rate quickens, the muscles tense. But beyond the physical, something far more insidious occurs. Fear causes contraction of thought, contraction of perception, contraction of energy. And the moment your field contracts, you become energetically vulnerable. In mystical traditions, the five-pointed star represents human sovereignty, the head, arms, and legs extended, energy flowing freely. But when fear takes hold, this structure weakens, the flow is disrupted. The energy centers, your chakras, your meridians begin to falter, like a fortress whose walls are crumbling. This is why fear has been used as a weapon for centuries, because a weakened energy field makes you susceptible to suggestion, to manipulation, to forces that do not have your best interest at heart. But there is something they do not tell you, something hidden in the ancient teachings of the adepts. Fear cannot enter where there is no doorway. Your energy field does not just react to the outside world, it is shaped by your inner state. The greater the fear, the more porous your field becomes. But the inverse is also true. The more you cultivate inner mastery, the more impenetrable your energy becomes. This is why warriors of old trained in meditation, breathwork, and energy control. They were not just training the body. They were forging an unbreakable field, a shield against the invisible forces that prey on human weakness. Yet, today, the modern world is designed to do the opposite, to keep you in a constant state of fear. Why? Because an unbalanced, fearful being is easier to control. A society in fear does not question. A mind in fear does not seek liberation. But what if you could reverse this process? What if instead of fear contracting your energy field, you could expand it, strengthen it, transmute it, because you can, and those who have walked the hidden path before you knew exactly how. Fear is like the wind, it is invisible, yet its presence is undeniable. It moves through the unseen corridors of your mind, whispering doubts, distorting perceptions, reshaping reality itself. But what if I told you, fear is not what you think it is? The sages of old did not see fear as an emotion alone, but as a force of frequency that feeds, grows, and takes form within the human consciousness. The Emerald Tablet, the Vedic scriptures, the esoteric writings of every great civilization hinted at the same hidden truth. Fear, left unchecked, becomes a living entity in occult traditions. These are known as egregores, energetic thought forms that thrive on belief and repetition. The more fear you feel, the more you reinforce its presence within your field. It becomes a loop, a self-sustaining cycle, a parasite that whispers in your own voice. But there is something they do not want you to know. Fear has no power of its own. It must be fed by your attention, your belief, your surrender. And here lies the great secret of the mysteries. Fear can be transmuted, not suppressed, not ignored, but alchemized. The key to this transmutation lies in understanding the dual nature of fear. You see, fear is not the enemy, it is a teacher. In the right hands, it is a tool of awakening. It is the fire that tempers the soul, forcing it to rise beyond its limits. In the ancient mystery schools, initiates were placed in chambers of darkness, made to face their deepest terrors, not to suffer, but to master fear, to witness it, to understand its illusions, to recognize that fear was never external, it was a projection of their own mind. The moment you stop running from fear, the moment you turn and face it, something remarkable happens. It loses its grip, it shrinks, because fear cannot survive in the light of awareness. This is why those who seek true power, the mystics, the sages, the warriors of the unseen world, train themselves not to avoid fear, but to walk through it, to let its fire burn away illusion, leaving only truth. And so I ask you, what if fear was never your enemy? What if it was the key to unlocking a power within you that has long been forgotten? You now understand fear. You see it for what it truly is, an energy, a force, a teacher. But knowledge alone is not enough. You must experience the transformation. And so I will show you the methods that initiates of the ancient world use to alchemize fear into power. Fear thrives in shallow breath and tension. The moment you control your breath, you disrupt its grip on your mind. Try this. Breathe in deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 8. This is the breath of stillness. It signals to your body that there is no danger, shutting down the fear response. Master this breath, and you master the gateway between reaction and response. When fear arises, do not flee. Instead, ask it, "What are you here to teach me?" Fear is a messenger, revealing hidden wounds, unhealed traumas, suppressed truths. Write down your fears, study them, decode their messages. Once you understand the lesson, fear loses its power over you. It shifts from being a shadow to a guide. This practice has been used for centuries in mystical traditions. Write down the fear that grips you. Speak it aloud, acknowledge it. Then, as the ancients did, release it to the fire. Watch as the flames consume the words, transmuting the energy into light. This is not mere symbolism, it is energetic transmutation. The act of burning represents release, breaking the chains that fear has placed upon you. Look into a mirror, truly look, not at your reflection, but into your own eyes. Speak to yourself, "I am not my fear. I am the master of my own energy." Watch what rises within your resistance, discomfort, emotion. This is your shadow revealing itself. The more you do this, the more you reclaim your own power. Fear cannot stand against self-recognition. The body speaks before the mind. When fear takes hold, shift your posture, straighten your spine, open your chest, raise your chin. Hold your hands as if you already wield power. This simple act tells your energy field, I am unshaken. I am sovereign. This is how you rewire your response to fear, not by resisting, but by embodying its opposite. The secret is this: fear is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the threshold between weakness and power, ignorance and wisdom. The only question is, will you step through? Fear has always been with you. It has whispered in the shadows of your mind, lurked in the corners of your soul. It told you that you were small, that you were powerless. But now you see the truth. Fear is not your enemy. It is a gatekeeper, a teacher, a threshold. It does not seek to destroy you, only to test whether you are ready to claim what has always been yours: your power, your sovereignty, your divine right to be free. Your energy is sacred. It is the very essence of your existence. When you allow fear to seep into it unchecked, you surrender your power to forces unseen. But when you face it, transmute it, and harness it, you become untouchable. The initiates of old knew this, the mystics, the sages, the warriors of the unseen. They did not seek to banish fear, but to master it. And now, so do you. The question is no longer, what does fear do to me? But rather, what will I do with fear? You now hold the key. The only thing left is for you to use it. If this knowledge resonated with you, if you feel its truth stirring within, then do not keep it locked inside. Share this with those who need it. Subscribe for more revelations from the hidden world. And comment below. Tell me, what fear have you conquered, and what power has it given you?